In this video I'm going to explain the Warhammer Titan, which is the newest Titan shifter to be referenced in the Attack on Titan anime. It was first mentioned during the second episode of the final season, and is known to be possessed by a member of the Tybur family since the Great Titan War over 100 years ago. The Warhammer has never been used in battle. And this is partly the reason why the Tybur family is so respected worldwide. Today we'll examine the Warhammer Titan's strengths, its weaknesses, and its various designs throughout history. Big spoiler warning for those of you who'd rather wait for the enemy to reveal this information. But for the rest of you, let's get into it. And don't forget to sub for more videos like this. Okay, so starting with the Warhammer Titan's strengths, it's able to use special types of hardening that lets it create a variety of weapons. The weapons that makes will usually manifest inside his hands. As we saw in the trailer for Season 4, Havoc conjured up a hammer, literally out of thin air. This type of hardening is special because it actually has a degree of flexibility, as shown when it created a crossbow, which of course requires an elastic string to make it functional. Normal Titan hardening just does not work that way. So the Warhammer has the advantage of being able to make flexible long-range weapons like whips or crossbows. This Titan can also cause structures to shoot out of the ground, such as this giant pillar that it made, or the spikes which look very similar to stepping on nails in the entirety of the series. So far as I'm making this video, the Warhammer has used its power to create a trident, a whip, a crossbow, a hammer, a sword, not to mention conjuring spikes out of its own body out of the ground, and obviously that giant spiky pillar that I just mentioned. Moving on to the Warhammer's other ability, it's been long established that the use of a Titan shifter can be found in the back of the Titan's neck. But this is not always the case. When it comes to the Warhammer, the user of this Titan can choose to encase themselves in a crystal just like the one that Annie is in, and then remotely control the Warhammer Titan host. Inside it, there's a cable that connects the body of the Warhammer Titan to the person in the crystal. But the downside is that if this cable is cut, then the Warhammer immediately loses connection and becomes lifeless. The user can still make a new cable from within the crystal, and this will create a new Warhammer Titan. However, once the cable is vulnerable, the crystal itself is virtually impossible to break into, which protects the user from something like this happening to them. This Titan's main weakness is that if it creates too many structures in a short space of time, then it will use up all its stamina and be unable to make anything else. General McGrath outright said that the power of the Warhammer is quickly exhausted. And we saw this play out during its first appearance in the series. During its first fight, the Warhammer made a ton of weapons only for it to run out of energy after about, I'd probably say, like 10 minutes. Its other weakness, if you can call it that, is that its special hardening is not indestructible. So it can be broken by other Titan shifters, with repeated punches, or by biting. With that said, but Warhammer is designed has several unique features that separate it from other Titans. And thanks to some throwbacks in the manga, we've gotten glimpses of the different Warhammer Titan throughout history. One thing they all have in common is that their flesh is covered in a thin layer of special hardening with enough space for their eyes and mouth to be seen. The markings that we saw on the Warhammer Titan's nape are reminiscent of the markings that appear on the user of a regular Titan shifter. The use of the one Titan never gets any markings on the actual face because that obviously the inside this crystal. So judging by the similarity of these two lines, I'd imagine that it was just a visual choice to put it on the Titan itself. One of the former Titans had these lines on his face, and another one had it along it, so we had Quape. This woman specifically had the freakiest design, but when you consider what I mentioned earlier about how it has elastic hardening that is flexible, you can understand why a Titan like this existed in the past. Additionally, another thing that makes this Titan stand out is the fact that its body does not have to materialize from the neck like other Titans do. Instead, the woman's body materializes from whichever body part the cable is connected to. In this clip we see how the Warhammer is taking shape from the bottom upwards. And that's because the cable was attached to its foot in this moment in a different situation. The one that can materialize from its head or any other body part as long as that's where the cable was attached. Anyway guys, that was the Warhammer Titan explained. And obviously if you've watched this far, I'm assuming you don't care too much about spoilers. So if you want to know who has this Titan in the anime, then it is the sister of Willy Tybur. So she was very you-know-it when she first appeared in the anime. She was very much in the background. She was very easy to miss. I'm pretty sure she even had our eyes closed. Amelia, she was the person who was selected, and when you think about it, it makes sense because Willy Tybur is meant to be the head of the family, right? And so if he has the Warhammer, then he's gonna die within 13 years. It's not great. So you'd rather have the head of the family. They can stay in that position for a really long time. Hence why it didn't really make sense for him to have this Titan. Be sure to drop a like if you liked this video and stay tuned.